Hey guys, what's up? Holderhek here with another video! Yeah, that's really obnoxious. What's up? So I had a couple of people ask me in my last videos what my rotation was in my enhancement guides to get my DPS so high. And this being vanilla slash classic, my initial response was, well, it's like 3 buttons because it's vanilla slash classic. But, you know, there are little tips and tricks you can do to make your DPS higher, especially with things like Storm Strike and timing your shocks. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go into my maximum damage rotation, which is what I did on those training dummies. We're going to go into what I would call your basic raid rotation, one that you would use to maximize your damage while at the same time conserving your mana. Then we're going to add Flame Shock to that rotation because using Flame Shock triggers people, and that's one of the things I enjoy most in life, is doing literally anything with the Enhancement Shaman that adds a debuff seems to make people really mad. So let's just try to add as many debuffs on the mob as possible. And then we're going to go into a Totem Twisting guide, because that's a concept a lot of us have heard about, but maybe you've never seen it work. So I'll go into the super high APM StarCraft Pro from Korea, just twitching, just... It's really not hard, honestly. You just cycle through 2 totems, and once you hit the crit cap, it's useless. But hey guys, Nightfall and Totem Twisting, right? No, never. Anywho, let's get into the guide right now. First, we're gonna get into the Hansman rotation, the one that I was using in my original videos. I really like calling this the CHADhance rotation now. I'd like to thank Jaybird for coming up with that phrase. So quickly, just gonna go over the totems. You're gonna drop Strength of Earth, Grace of Air, Mana Spring, and Searing, and you're not gonna twist them, because that's stupid. You're gonna blow Blood Fury before you attack because it triggers the global cooldown, and this is gonna be the way to maximize your DPS. Then we open with a Storm Strike Earth Shock. Blow 2 Earth Shocks on each charge of Storm Strike, and then interlace a Flame Shock into the rotation. You can also open with a Flame Shock if you are running at the mob from far away. That would be a good way to start your damage, but again, it's Flame Shock and it's kind of crap. Couple little intricacies. You'll notice I didn't use Slayer's Crest right off the bat. I was waiting for a Crusader proc to give me that 100 strength, so I could then stack the 100 strength on top of the Slayer's Crest. Being a shaman, you don't have the ability to control when you do the most damage, i.e. when you do Wind Furies, so the best bet you can is to just stack as many buffs on top of each other when they proc, like Crusader, or even Clear Casting is a way to conserve mana. Like, you wait for Clear Casting and then you almost wait the full duration to use it, because the next cast off of Clear Casting doesn't interrupt your mana regeneration. Speaking of mana regeneration, at 1 minute, redrop your Mana Spring and Searing, and at 2 minutes, redrop your Strength of Earth, Grace of Air. One of the signs of actually being good at this class is having 100% uptime on your totems, so don't let me down. Have 100% uptime on your totems. Now we're going to go into what I would call your basic raiding rotation. Also notice that I have enchanted Atiesh with Crusader, and that's hilarious. So yeah, this rotation's fairly simple. Same deal with pre-popping Blood Fury, and then we just Storm Strike and Frost Shock, and that's really all you're going to use. Storm Strike after your melee swings, and Frost Shock on cooldown. You're not going to use Flame Shock because it takes up a debuff slot. You're not going to use Earth Shock because it draws too much aggro. So this build is probably the most brain dead and easy way you can play but it's also going to be the way you're probably going to be playing, so that's cool, I guess. That's all it is, guys. Storm Strike after a melee attack, Frost Shock, and then, of course, Searing and Mana every minute, Grace of Air, Strength of Earth every 2. Now we're going to make that basic rating rotation a little bit more interesting. Drop our 4 totems, pre-pop our Blood Fury, open with a Storm Strike, but then, instead of using Frost Shock, we're going to open with Flame Shock because it does the most damage over time. Then, in between keeping up the Flame Shock debuff, we are going to Frost Shock, and that's going to be your enhanced Enhancement basic rating rotation. If you can get Flame Shock, if you're, quote, allowed, quote, to use Flame Shock, this is going to do more damage than just spamming Frost Shock over and over again. Additionally, with this, you could actually, maybe, possibly, abandon Frost Shock altogether and just use Flame Shock as a means to conserve mana. That's obviously not going to work out super well, since most of the mobs you're going to be fighting in the early game have tons of fire resistance, and only later on, when debuffs become more important, can you really start using Flame Shock. So it's going to be a delicate mix in between trying to maximize your own damage while then maximizing the raid damage. Work it out with the other people, base it on your own particular raid composition, but obviously interlacing Frost Shock with the Flame Shock will net you more damage, especially with a Frost Mage in the group with that delicious 10% crit bonus on top of other crit bonuses. But if you're just trying to conserve mana, Flame Shock and only Flame Shock is the way to go. Everything else in this rotation remains the same from the last one. Okay, final rotation that you may be subjected to is going to be Totem Twisting. So this is something that's thrown around as like some sort of high-level skill play and is absolutely necessary, but I'ma say the verdict's out on that one. Here we go. Basically, with Totem Twisting, your idea is to keep up Grace of Air and Wind Fury at all times. I haven't enchanted my weapon with my own Wind Fury, so you can see the buff up there. It refreshes every 5 seconds and lasts for 9 seconds. So you get that buff at 9, then you drop Grace of Air. Then you leave it there until the buff almost wears out. Then you redrop Wind Fury. Then you redrop Grace of Air. That's it, guys. That's Totem Twisting. Also, yes, you're going to absolutely need Totemic Focus to make this work. Redropping totems over and over again is going to cost you a ton of mana. So, it's basically all you can do, as you're about to see. So yeah, as a buff bot bard enhancement shaman, you're going to pre-drop Wind Fury, run in, start auto-attacking. Then you will redrop Grace of Air, Mana Spring, Strength of Earth, and Searing, and then you're going to repop Wind Fury to keep up the buffs, and then redrop Grace of Air. Congratulations, that's your rotation. You are sitting there every 9 seconds and redropping 2 totems while you auto-attack. Every minute, you will then redrop Searing and Mana, and every 2 minutes you will redrop Strength of Earth. All you are going to have mana to do is redrop Grace of Air and Wind Fury. This is like the most enforced slavery of a class I have ever seen in my life, and I truly feel bad for anybody that is subjected to this nonsense. You can see in this video I'm also using the Nightfall, which is probably the weapon you're going to be using if you have to Totem Twist. This weapon is nice, as it does provide a 15% bonus to all magic damage. However, it has the DPS of like a Phase 1 epic that drops off of Magmadar, And personally, I'm going to craft one just to disenchant it, so I can then use the Nexus crystals to enchant my gloves with plus 15 agility. To be real, for like, I don't know, 10 seconds. This is actually a pretty valid way to play the class if you want to be the best buffer and supporter that you possibly can be. You're going to be outputting the best totems, you're going to be outputting the best raid DPS, and you're going to be helping all your casters with the Nightfall. This is just not my particular playstyle, so if this offends you, deal with it? So that's pretty much it on the rotation video, guys. There's a couple different ways to play this class, whether you're going all out damage, blow your mana as fast as possible, and just hope the thing dies before you have to get a mana-tied shaman to assist you, which, by the way, is actually a totally valid way to play. I'm gonna do a video about an optimal group to benefit not only enhancement shamans, but all meme specs. And sneak peek pro tip, Mana-Tied Shaman is the way to go. Good job, Horde. Now for some final little tidbits. You're going to want to make sure early on you have stacks of limited invulnerability potions. These things make you immune to physical damage for 6 seconds, so they're really great for PvP. Beyond that, they're fantastic for PvE because they make the mob completely drop aggro on you when you use them. So especially in the very beginning of the fight, when you run in, if you get a triple Wind Fury crit, pop that limited invulnerability potion, and then you're going to drop the aggro caused by that massive amount of sudden damage. Do it early enough, your mana potion will come off cooldown for you to use it after you pop that demonic rune. Next, a little clarification. Earlier I spoke about using the Slayer's Crest when Crusader procs. Obviously, you're not going to have Slayer's Crest for 99.9% of the game, so that would actually be a pretty good time to use Blood Fury if you're an orc. If you're a troll, you're going to want to use that when you're hurt. A good way to activate a good percentage of berserking would be to use it immediately after a demonic rune, so you can guarantee lower health. I will talk about that later in a best race for enhancement video. Next, with Stormstrike, you're going to want to make sure that you're always using Stormstrike after an auto attack. It resets your attack timer, so using it at any other time is going to be a net loss of personal DPS. And finally, all the instances in which I was just dropping Grace of Air in this video, you will most assuredly be dropping Wind Fury. Grace of Air is better for your personal damage, but Wind Fury is better for literally everyone else's damage. The only way you can get around this is to have another shaman in your group, and then one of you can drop Grace of Air, the other one can drop Wind Fury. With all that being said, hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I'm gonna sit here and watch warriors fail to get their berserker stance, and hope you guys have a great day. Toodaloo!